Before I start this video, I need to apologize. I'm going to be reading from a script, and I'm going to be pretty harsh on you. But it needs to be done. Now, you say G.K. Chesterton said that when people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They believe in anything. Now I ask you, why is that so bad? Do you find it threatening? Are you scared of the fact that we no longer are bound to your primitive beliefs that lack any sort of foundation other than the fictitious writings of self-serving men just trying to justify their own actions? And yes, that is a reference to the Bible. You try to link us to Nazis and communists simply to attack our ethos. But I don't need another group to demonstrate how terrible Christians have been. The Crusades, the Dark Ages, the Salem witch trials, and the list goes on for quite a while. And Christians aren't exactly the only ones. Don't even get me started about what's been done in the name of Allah. You say you can't argue good and evil with reason. You've got to be kidding me. There's no tool that we as humans actually possess other than reason. So basically what you're saying is that we should sit down, blindly pick a religion, and say, look, here's good and evil, and I'm done thinking about it. That's just a huge cop-out. You say that the amazing atheist borrows your Christian morality, and the only thing I have to say to that is, you conceited prick. What makes you think that he borrowed from your religion when there's so many others out there that have almost exactly the same ideals? Wonder why that is. Maybe it's because these religions are based on spirituality. Maybe it's because these religions aren't based on spirituality as many would claim, but on reason. Faulty reasoning. Most of the time, but reasoning, nonetheless. The fact of the matter is, you don't want to hear the purely rational viewpoints on abortion or public nudity, or any of these other examples you give. Because when it comes time for you to listen, you just stick your fingers in your ears and pretend we're not there. Now, I as an atheist will say yes, I do worship reason. And maybe you should take a second look at this value that you so righteously just thrown to the side. You say we are so poisoned and muddled, but by what exactly? Our lack of belief? You can't be poisoned or muddled by a lack of anything. Now this is why we find you to be poisoned and sick. You can't see how ingrained this religion is in your thinking, can you? Apparently not. You say you have to believe that people are basically good in order to believe that human reasoning will lead to moral conclusions. Now, you've misunderstood the very purpose of reason. Without presupposing knowledge of what's good or moral, reason is the tool with which we can find truth. It's a logical deduction that murder is wrong, simply because if murder were acceptable, we'd all end up dead. People don't risk their lives for strangers based on reason. This is true. They do it out of instinct. No one goes through an internal moral debate just before jumping in front of a bullet, do they? They do it out of animal instinct, to protect one's own. Yes, an atheist view of the world is a little bit cynical, but that's the price we pay for knowledge. As they say, ignorance is bliss, and you seem to be very boastful about your bliss. From a society that values martyrs, it's odd that Christians never really understand this. And this little brownie example you use here, I'm guessing you're trying to say that we have nothing good to offer? Well, if by good you mean pleasant and nice, then no, we don't. And I say it proudly. Eat your brownies and get fat doing it, but leave us alone. There's a reason that people are still buying what we're selling, and that's because it's healthy. It's not some self-destructive idea as you make it out to be. Atheism will set you free, if you don't mind me taking a page out of your book. Now you say, and I quote, "You want to imagine a world without reason? Just watch a couple of atheist YouTube videos." Now wait a second. What was it you said we worshipped again? You can't argue both ways. Pick one side and stick with it. Yes, maybe you need a divinely inspired manual to put you in your place so you don't actually have to think. But you should try it sometime. It's actually quite enlightening.